one more time.
Y'all did the one, bro.
Hey, what's going on, Who Dat Nation? It is yours truly, TJ Jones, the host of the State of the Saints podcast. And on this edition of the State of the Saints podcast, we're going to be talking about Taysom Hill, and we're also going to be talking about linebacker Anthony Chickillo. Now, we're going to go ahead and start with Taysom Hill because there's a very interesting story that is circulating there and making their rounds, and it has something to do with Taysom Hill being the future franchise quarterback of the New Orleans Saints. Now, this story actually came from Fox insider Jay Glazer. Now, you probably know who Jay Glazer is if you watch NFL on Fox. He's the short, bald-headed guy. He's best friends with Michael Strahan, and he's a guy that always, tells people all these inside scoops on things. He was the first person to actually break that Sean Payton signed a 5-year deal with the New Orleans Saints. So Jay Glazer has went on record and said that the Saints look at Taysom Hill as the future of the franchise. He talked about how much Sean Payton loves Taysom Hill, and the contract that was signed by Taysom Hill was just a little bit of a nugget and showing that they are fully committed to him being the future of the franchise. Now, I must say, this is not a story that I feel like in a Who Dat Nation we need to take with a grain of salt. Jay Glazer is really close friends with Sean Payton. He has been to the Saints practice facility on multiple occasions, and Sean Payton kind of uses Jay Glazer when news kind of breaks out in regards to New Orleans Saints. He always gives him the scoop first. So, is Taysom Hill the franchise quarterback of the New Orleans Saints? I can't answer that question. I cannot answer that question. I feel the same way as so many other people in the Who Dat Nation. I need to see more out of Taysom Hill. Now, some people might think that I look down on Taysom Hill. I don't think he has what it takes. I just don't know if he has what it takes because I have not seen him consistently play the quarterback position. Now, it's one thing for you to play the Swiss Army role when you're under center and teams don't know if you're going to run the ball or pass the ball. But when you're under center from start to finish, when you're under center, teams are going to have tape on you. Teams are going to be able to scheme against you, and it's going to be a completely different ball game. Now, looking at some of these young, elusive quarterbacks in the league and how offensive coordinators have gotten these guys and open up their playbooks and have these guys playing at a very high level, case in point, recent MVP Lamar Jackson, I feel there is a place for Taysom Hill. Taysom Hill has a good arm. We all know that he has good speed. And everybody on the New Orleans Saints team love this guy. Every time Taysom Hill makes a play, the whole bench just goes crazy. And not to mention people in the Who Dat Nation love Taysom because of all of the things that he can do. And he plays with so much passion and heart. So, like I said, I'm going to reserve my judgment till all the facts come out. But I'm just saying, by the time Drew Brees retires, if he retires next year, Taysom Hill is going to be 31 years old. Now, I understand that he doesn't have wear and tear on his body from his 20s, and he still be able to play because, he hasn't taken those many hits. But still, man, 31 years old, man, that's pretty old for a quarterback, man. Usually when quarterbacks are 31 years old, they're starting to, hit their prime, not being a starting quarterback on a team. If the Saints commit to Taysom Hill, which I have no reason to believe they won't, they still need to get somebody that's young. They still need to draft somebody, man. Somebody that can possibly be behind Taysom. The way that Taysom plays, he's a strong physical guy, but he also plays reckless. And I don't think a Tiger changes his stripes just because you tell him he's going to be the starting quarterback. So I'm very interested to see if the New Orleans Saints are going to be able to draft somebody, bring them in, and possibly mold them at the same time if they decide to make Taysom Hill their franchise quarterback. But it's going to be a very interesting story. Once again, this story came from Fox insider Jay Glazer, and I have no reason to not believe Jay Glazer because most of the time when he says something about the Saints, he's right. And now we move on to the Saints signing former Pittsburgh Steelers linebacker Anthony Chickillo. Now, a lot of people may not know who this guy is. He's a guy who he got drafted by the Pittsburgh Steelers in 2015. He was a sixth-round draft pick. I think he was pick number 212 or something. He came out of Miami, man. He is from the U. Be that as it may, the U is not what it used to be when Willis McGahee, Ken Dorsey, Sean Taylor, and all those other guys were there. But he still came from the U, man. Very prestigious university, when it comes to football. He played most of his snaps came on special teams. He was a special teams player for the Pittsburgh Steelers. He only started in about 9 games. He had some really, okay stats. 2 forced fumbles, 8 sacks, and a touchdown. So, be that as it may, that's okay. But I look at it like this. I don't feel like Anthony Chickillo is going to be a Saint. I'm just going to be honest with you. I think that the Saints actually signed him for depth. A training camp body. He's a guy that when he did play for the Pittsburgh Steelers, he put his hand on the ground and he was mostly used as a pass rusher trying to rush the quarterback. He wasn't one of those guys that really was playing in coverage or anything like that. And the guy that was sideline to sidelines, he did most of his dirty work on special teams. Now, we all know that the way that you actually make a team, most of the time, if a team is already stacked, it goes through special teams and you work hard and develop. And maybe a coach would be like, man, I'm going to give him a chance on the offense. So this is what it looks like with Anthony Chickillo. He's going to be a guy that's going to be on special teams and possibly make the team that way. But I don't see him being a part of the Saints defensive rotation. I don't see him being a part of the linebacker rotation or anything like that. He's just going to be a guy that can compete for a job, and hopefully he'll get one. Anthony Chickillo, he does come with a little bit of baggage. He was I don't want to say he was suspended, but the Pittsburgh Steelers told him to go home, and he was on the commissioner's exempt list because he got into a domestic dispute with his girlfriend. The charges were indeed dropped, and he was able to come back, and it kind of got swept under the rug a little bit. So that's something that you have to watch out for as well. But nevertheless, man, he seems like a very interesting guy. He was okay when he was in college when I saw him, but he's going to have to do a lot in order for him to make the New Orleans Saints roster. But I think it's a good move. You can't go wrong with a Pittsburgh linebacker. But I would love to hear from you. What do you think about Taysom Hill being a franchise quarterback? Jay Glazer's comments. And also Anthony Chickillo. What do you think about him, and what role do you feel the Saints are going to have for him? Comment down below, like and share this video. This has been the State of the Saints podcast. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel, youtube.com, search The State of the Saints podcast, facebook.com, search The State of the Saints podcast. And also, if you cannot look at the State of the Saints podcast, from time to time, you can't watch the videos, you're probably working or something, it is available in podcast form. You can also use Alexa in order for you to summon the State of the Saints podcast. All you have to do is say, hey, Alexa, I want to hear the State of the Saints podcast, and it'll play the most recent episode for you. Till next time, all I got to say is, who dat?